Hi, and welcome to Unleashed, the podcast about the people, the projects, and the culture of Big Red Dog. Each episode, we sit down with a team member to discuss what they're doing on a daily basis to chase their passions, help our clients become successful, and make the engineering business cool. I'm Sean Terrio-Smith, your co-host, along with Kelly Dakin. Kelly, it's good to see you again. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Sean. How the heck are you? I missed you, man.
I miss you too. No, it's good to see you. It's been a couple of weeks, but glad to be back at the table in the BRD studios.
Yes,
talking to you and our guest today. Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to another episode. We're very fortunate to be in the Big Red Dog studios today with a member of our transportation team. We haven't had a member from the transportation and traffic team before, and we're very lucky to have Madeleine Hirsch with us today. Maddie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. It's nice to finally kind of get over to y'all's neck of the woods. We previously spoke with a MEP team member, and we haven't yet got a chance to speak with anybody with the structural team, but we'll get to them eventually. As most people know, we're a multidisciplinary firm. We predominantly civil, but we do have MEP and structural and transportation and traffic engineering services, and we're a nice, thriving ecosystem of engineering design services in our offices. So it's going to be nice for me to get the insight into what you do every day, and for everybody else that's listening. So I guess right off the bat, could you walk us through what you typically do on a daily basis for your clients? What sort of engineering services do you participate in, and what kind of overall design services you generally do on a daily basis here?
Yeah, so a bulk of what we do are called traffic impact analyses. And so if a development's coming in, we'll go ahead and do an analysis on what they're proposing is going to do to the surrounding roadway network. So if someone is coming in and putting in a Starbucks generates so much traffic. All that traffic is going to be coming to and from certain areas, and we predict where that traffic is coming from and how it's going to impact the greater roadway system. So that's a lot of what we do. And we also are doing planning, and we have a team member who is in urban planning, and we also are very interested in pedestrian and bicycle facility design, and we also like doing traffic calming as well. So all over the place, and we can do any kind of transportation thing you need. But yeah, we're a strong team with a lot of different backgrounds, and we can bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, it's definitely a very innovative section of engineering services. I think
right.
For civil and MEP and structural, there's not a great deal of stuff that tends to surprise anybody, but
right.
Traffic and transportation, it's such a hot button issue often in civics that people throw around the term traffic impact analysis all the time in the news, and may not necessarily know what that is in reality, and how much actual design and analysis goes into determining the impact of a development. So for what you do on it, particularly with traffic impact and traffic design, could you talk us through, for somebody who may not necessarily know much about traffic, what overall concepts drive your analysis and research when it comes to, say, a particular development such as retail or hospitality or multifamily?
Yeah, so a bulk of what we do comes from the Institute of Transportation Engineers. They put out a lot of research and a lot of data for us to use to predict the amount of trips that land use is going to generate. And then there are a lot of other great resources that we can use to help with finding mitigations for that impact on the greater roadway system. NACTO is a great source for us. And E.I.T also puts out a lot of great other resources and whatnot. So AASHTO is a pretty standard resource for anyone in transportation as well. But also Dan Hennessy, the director, is also really looking forward to getting into a little bit more personalized trip generation data. So you can't say that a multifamily complex is going to generate the same amount of trips anywhere in the country. He's really digging into trying to get more local data. And I think that's really important and something that we're looking forward to getting into more.
Yeah, Dan's really doing a lot of cool stuff with that.
Yeah.
Local actual data that's not just a blanket
right.
number for the entire country. Every location, every city is different.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You mentioned earlier, even considering different modes of transportation. I think that's something that's important. We are in Texas for the most part. Everyone loves driving, but more and more as cities get urbanized and people are trying to find different ways to get around.
Yeah.
Bicycle networks and
scooters
transit,
now.
Scooters. Yeah. That's definitely a hot button issue in a lot of Texas cities and across the country too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We're also trying to do a little bit of research with the scooter companies right now, scooter and bikes, mostly interested in dockless systems as well. So yeah, I mean, that factors into almost everything we do. So yeah, really interesting stuff.
So yeah, I mean, real quick, what's your hot take on scooters? What do you feel about the craze that is swarming our cities? We haven't got it here in Houston. We still have our old-fashioned bicycle rentals, but we're looking forward to having something in the future. What do you think about dockless or even stationary scooter systems?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're really great. I think there's some resistance with people being upset about people parking them in the middle of the sidewalk or, like on the trail. And I think there maybe needs to be some kind of penalty for not parking them correctly. Maybe that's something that the dockless systems or companies can work with. But I think they're great for, making trip-ins. If you're going to take a bus or a train, we don't have many trains here, but if you're going to take a bus, it's a great, first part of your trip and then also to the end without taking a car or like an Uber or Lyft. And I think they're really affordable, which is nice. And yeah, I just think the parking issue is a little bit of a problem, but I think they're still working the kinks out. It's all pretty new. So I think we'll get there. And I think so far, I think they're great. So they're a little scary.
I love them.
Yeah.
A little scary, but that's what makes it fun though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely unique. I mean, I think it gives us a fresh perspective on how we utilize our transportation systems. I mean, especially in Houston, it's so overly focused on the vehicle. You'll be hard pressed to find somebody just walking down the street in the middle of the summer in Houston all the time. So it's not always the best use case, but I mean, even in Austin and San Antonio and in the West Coast where they're probably more popular, pedestrian usage is so much more prevalent, and it kind of gives us our planners and our engineers a chance to take a second look at why we design roads the way we do for such large vehicular traffic when the trends are going towards a very multimodal system, and it's definitely interesting to see those things kind of take hold.
I know that City of Austin has had discussions of bike lanes and sidewalks in the street and where these dockless scooters belong. So they're trying to think of different ways to accommodate them on the roadway, some kind of shared path with bikes, possibly. I'm not sure. I kind of just saw something on the internet and, it looked interesting, but I think there are discussions of trying to figure out where these scooters and, even the e-bikes belong. They're not fast enough for a vehicle lane. They're too fast for a bike lane and way too fast for the sidewalk. So kind of a dilemma here in Austin and probably other cities as well. So I think that's something to look forward to and maybe something we can incorporate in our research.
Awesome. Now that's interesting to see those things going through the motions. Taking it back from current events, I guess, going back to your professional life, could you describe your path towards transportation engineering? Did it start before you went to college? Is this something you found a passion for while you were in school or afterwards, perhaps? Yeah.
So I took a transportation class my junior year in college, and I had a great professor, Gene Hawkins, and he really just made transportation seem so interesting. Not just your typical, you kind of said this earlier, it's not so predictable and it's not so calculated. You really have to understand the city, the town, whatever place you're looking at, the people, their behaviors. And it's kind of a balance of science and art a little bit. So he really made that apparent to me. And, I never really thought of myself as a engineering type person, but whenever he kind of described that, it just sounded something so interesting and, cool to me. And I pursued a internship with TTI, Texas A&amp Transportation Institute, that summer. I really enjoyed the research that I did there, and that made me take a job in transportation whenever I came out of college.
Great. So you went to A&M. Were you always going to be doing engineering? Was that something that you were originally set out to do, or did you switch around at all?
No, I came in with engineering. I wanted to quit many times, as probably most people do. But my mom said, "You got to stick to it. You've committed to this. It's going to be great for you, and I think you could be really great at it." And so, gotta give a shout out to my mom. I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. But yeah, I never switched. I went in general civil. I thought about specializing, but I wasn't completely sold on, going that route. So everyone told me you can't go wrong with general civil. And, but yeah, I mean, thought about architecture a long time ago, but I thought engineering was probably better suited for me. So.
Great. Yeah, no, that's a shared experience. I think from pretty much anybody engineering background, we have those moments, late nights before finals, like questioning your choices. But we're glad you're here now with us
me
on the
too.
other side of that.
It's worth it, everyone.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I think people get into it and expect a certain thing, and having that more generalist approach towards engineering, and civil itself is very broad in and of itself, but having opportunities and avenues to pursue after college for yourself, as an example, going through transportation and traffic specifically is descriptive of the power of the learning that we have in civil, at least. Right. So I'm glad you feel you have a space where you feel resonance for and have that alignment. So you went to A&M. Did you were you originally from Texas or?
Yeah, I was actually from College Station, Texas, where Texas A&M is. And I grew up thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to Texas A&M.
Look at you now.
I can't stay in College Station a day longer. And I really did look at a lot of other universities. I looked at NC State pretty closely, which seemed like the A&M equivalent of North Carolina. Yeah,
exactly.
But I wanted to, do engineering, and my parents were like, well, why don't you go to A&M for your first year, save yourself some money, because out-of-state tuition's ridiculous. And I did that, and I think they knew in the back of their heads that I was going to love it and then want to stay. So I ended up staying all 4 years, and honestly, it was, I don't regret it one bit. It was a great program. Everyone was so nice, and it seemed like a different experience than other people got in different engineering fields at A&M. I mean, civil engineering was like a family there. Like everyone looked out for each other. Everyone was wanting to see each other succeed. And I thought that was really special. And probably you can't find that many other places.
That's really interesting to hear. I know A&M has a great engineering program, and it's huge, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So even with the large size of the program, it's still pretty tight knit.
Yeah, you find your niche whenever you kind of find the people that are, your same age, going through your same program, and even people who are specializing. But I wasn't specializing in anything, but I kind of made friends throughout, and thank God I did. They're another reason why I probably graduated.
Well,
so
you need study partners and people to help keep you accountable.
Yeah, exactly. So it really made a world of a difference to me. And, I don't think I would be here without those people as well.
Good. So. Were you involved in any organizations and clubs and sports and things like that?
I wish I could say I was involved in more engineering things, but I was on the triathlon team at A&M, and I swam throughout middle school and high school. And I kind of wanted to swim in college, but A&M's team is super good, so that wasn't happening. And I didn't want all these hours of swimming to go to waste, so I found triathlon, and I mean, it was a really great group of people and kept me active and keeps me sane, honestly. I don't know what I'd do without exercise and training. And, but yeah, I was very involved with that all 4 years of undergrad. So
A&M's tri team is pretty good too, aren't they?
Yeah, we're the largest in the nation. And then I think, my last year, our women's team got 4th. In the nation.
At nationals.
Yeah, at nationals. So
I did some triathlon in college too, and I remember the A&M outfits with
the zebra,
crazy zebra outfits. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a long story. But I mean, it's really not all that interesting, but we love the zebra, and
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. It does make us stand out. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, it's a fun bunch of people who love to have a good time. So, and race fast.
Cool. That's funny. A lot of times, at the career fairs, I know you helped us out with one of them recently. A lot of the students ask us, what are you guys looking for on a resume? And that's exactly what we look for. We look for people that not only excel in their classes, and we don't necessarily look for people that are super involved in their, engineering clubs and stuff. We want people that are well-rounded, and that can, people that are well-rounded and are involved in other things, not only just schoolwork. We want people that have leadership positions in other, social activities and sports and other things like that. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, you can get a great deal of leadership experience from those engineering organizations, but it's often very siloed. I mean, you only have interactions with people from civil or mechanical or whatever organization it is. So I always encourage people to reach out and connect with, ethnic organizations or, governmental organizations on campus, activity-based organizations, because you're going to have that opportunity to interact with all those different majors. You have that broad perspective on what everybody else's professional careers. I mean, and as consultants, and what we do personally or professionally rather, is very important to have that breadth of experience or breadth of perspective to understand what the client needs, what the customer needs, what our co-consultants need, what the contractor needs. Like, it's important not to just think exclusively like a civil engineer. You got to think like a development professional. You have to think about like a construction professional, and that's important.
Yeah, I think that's super important as well.
Well, that's cool to hear that you were one of those unicorns, I guess, people who come from College Station and stayed in College Station,
Oh, actually, it's like a surprising amount of people that stay there. I don't know if it's because people who generally live in College Station have like their parents work at A&M or are professors. But I mean, a lot of people from my high school actually went into engineering, and I think it was like they stayed because Texas A&M's engineering program was so well known and a good bang for your buck as well. So especially if you live in College Station, and I will say I did not live at home. I always get that question. They're like, did you live with your parents? And I was like, no, I moved out as soon as I could. I at least got that. So, but yeah, it was kind of weird how many people from my high school still went to A&M. So I don't know. Yeah. So
what drew you to Austin? What made you come here? I mean, obviously Big Red Dog was here, but we have offices elsewhere. What ultimately, clued you into Austin?
Yeah. So my family visited Austin a lot growing up. It just is kind of our type of city. It's it's a really fun place. My whole family is really into outdoors stuff. So every single time we're here, we're running the lake. We're going to Barton Springs. But recently we've been going to Deep Eddy more. My mom swims laps every day, so she likes going to Deep Eddy. And we love good Mexican food and other types of food as well. So growing up, I knew Austin was a cool place and that I wanted to live there at some point in my life. So being able to find a company like Big Red Dog in a city like Austin was just like, it was just too perfect. And yeah, I enjoy every single part of the city. Maybe not like the traffic super much, but I'm working on it. We're all working on it. Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, so you're doing your part at least. So
yeah.
Yeah.
But you didn't come straight to Austin, right?
Right. Yeah. I took a job out in Colorado straight out of college. It was such a great opportunity. Worked with a small company, and I worked right underneath a really smart woman, and she really taught me a lot, and it was such a great opportunity. And I was ready to get out of College Station for real that time. And so I actually did it. And it was such a great experience. So yeah, I'm definitely glad I got out of Texas, even though I missed it a lot. But it was still, it was a great experience, and I'm glad I did it.
Cool. So what about Big Red Dog, really attracted you to the company? Was there something about the branding, something about the culture? What were the touch points that really drew you to focus on coming here? Yeah.
So I think probably everyone here will say the culture is like huge. I mean, I honestly feel like I'm walking into like a fun factory every day. Like everyone's like laughing. There's ping pong, there's mini golf, there's foosball. And that's like the little stuff, but like everyone's just like overly friendly, like making sure that you're comfortable, that you have everything that you need to be successful. And I think that was like probably one of the huge things that I was looking for, is a great company culture. And Dan was also a huge part of that. I saw his video on the website, and I loved that he said that we're not here to just throw on another lane on a roadway. Like, we're here to come up with innovative solutions that make sense for the city, for the people, and not just like come in and just kind of do typical transportation engineering improvements. Like, we're here to think smart and think differently. And, you know, that's what really made the transportation group stand out to me.
No, that's great. I mean, it definitely reflected in all the offices. I mean, that culture, you know, extends beyond the Austin office into San Antonio, Houston, you know, Dallas and Sugar Land. You know, I get a chance to visit the offices every now and then, and it's remarkable how familiar it feels just walking into another Big Red Dog office,
Right.
even if you don't even if you're not there very often. It feels like you're coming home or going to into your family, you know, family space. So it's definitely a very familiar feeling. It's nice. So I guess you've kind of answered this question a little bit, but I can imagine what the answers will be for you to, you know, what you do on your free time. I imagine you're probably swimming a lot, probably doing running and exercising and whatnot. But what else in Austin do you like to do? Or I guess if you prefer you go elsewhere, I'm sure you travel. What other places you like to visit?
Yeah. So around Austin, yeah, it's pretty much swimming, biking, and running. I pretty much run on the lake almost every afternoon. I'm like right there. So it's like pretty easy to get out there. And I also like going to any kind of concert, or more so like maybe a cool band in a bar or something, you know. And I love eating, of course. That's why I do all the swimming, biking, and running. Duh.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I love myself some good Mexican food, enchiladas. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I go back to College Station to support my Aggies during football season. Just went last weekend, so that was really fun.
But yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, you definitely have direct access to a lot of those activities, being so close to downtown and,
Right.
and east side of Austin, and you know, most of our offices are pretty close to those sort of centers of recreation, or just, you know, the community. So it's nice to be in those right in the middle of things and be able to like walk right out of the office and go straight into, you know, your favorite bar, restaurant, you know, your favorite running path, you know, things like that. So it feels like you've definitely found a great space for yourself. And we're glad to have you on the team. I know you just recently joined. We didn't say that at the beginning, but you just recently joined the team not that long ago. I guess how long has it been now?
Almost 2 months. Yeah.
So right out the gate,
I feel like you've been here for longer, but
people probably hear me over there in the corner and they're just like, oh my God, she's still here. Like, I'm trying to liven up the group over there. They're a little quiet. So I think that's probably one of the reasons Dan brought me on. He might be regretting it now, but yeah, I'm trying to chit chat over there and, you know, hopefully not be like distracting.
No, you're doing a great job. I saw that you decorated your little space with lights and Christmas lights over there.
Yeah, we got lights over there because everyone had posters, and I was like, we got to get posters. And so
you got to make the space your own, kind of.
Right, yeah. So posters are on the list next. And then the Halloween decorating contest, like, I think I put the lights up the day of the email, whenever the email came out. And Dan was like, oh my gosh, did you get permission to decorate more? And I was just like, yeah, I did. Dry ice is coming. Get ready. So yeah, just trying to, you know, make it homey and, you know,
it's gonna be like a full haunted house over there.
I know. I'm excited. So yeah, I got to get on that. I guess that's coming up pretty soon.
I mean, we don't have a chance then if that's what you guys are working with over there.
We'll see. We'll see. I got grand ideas, so I just got to execute.
Well, it's good. You seem like you've definitely made a home for yourself right off the bat. And like that's the type of folks that we look for, obviously. We want cultural leaders. We want people who are, you know, willing to create a space that's comfortable and welcoming, and in a space that we can get things done and everybody feels like home. So, you know, I'm glad to have you part of the team, and we've worked together on a project or two already. And, you know, it's a you know, privilege to have you on the show. We're going to go right into our hot seat section. We ask these questions at the end of our show for everybody. And it's pretty, just a flat 3 questions that kind of get us a picture of what the company's like. So first one, if you were to add a book to the Big Red Dog Library, what would you add and why?
All right. So I'm in the middle of this book, so I might take it back later. And Kelly might be the only one that appreciates this. I don't know how many runners we have here, but my dad got me the book, How to Make Yourself Poop, and 990 other tips all runners should know. So
I haven't heard of that one. That's
it's a really funny book, and it's just has great tips for runners. And It's really good stuff. So, I mean, I might add it to the library. We'll see. I don't want people to know it's from me probably, but it's a great book for all those runners out there. And I'm guessing that we probably have a good amount since we're here in Austin and, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Sugar Land, all those places. I
know we have a few in every office for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these people might silently appreciate this book. They might not broadcast it like me, but I'll put it in there.
Awesome. Yeah. No, so you said how to make yourself poop?
Yeah.
I see. I want to make sure I didn't mishear that. So that's, we're historical podcast first. We said the P word. The word poop on the podcast.
Should we mark it as explicit now?
I don't know.
Yeah. I won't listen to it around my kids. So
all the runners will understand. If you're not a runner, you might just be like, "What is she reading?" Sure. But if you're a runner, you probably get it. So, it's a really funny book, and it has some good advice as well.
I understand. I'm a recovering runner, I think.
Oh, okay.
Ever since I've had kids, I haven't really been active, but I used to run a lot. Prior after the military, we just get used to it. But
right,
yeah, I definitely understand the value of that. So
yeah, exactly.
we'll go into the second question now. So if Big Red Dog didn't exist, and for example, if you didn't have the opportunity to work as a traffic or transportation engineer, what would you do to chase your passions?
So if I had to be like wild and crazy, I'd love to flip houses. That's kind of random, but I think that's really interesting. And again, I think it's kind of like, knowing your city, like, kind of like predicting like what areas are going to be hot, what's not, all that good stuff. I think that would be kind of a cool way to, still contribute to your area, to your city, but, in a not engineering way. So if that was like my wild gamble, I think that would be pretty fun.
Are you a hands-on like DIY kind of person? Or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I'd like to get more into it, but yeah, I do like it. My sister does a lot of DIY stuff, so she kind of inspires me to do it. So sometimes I'm just like, I'd rather like pay for it. But so whenever I do it, I'm always happy that I did it. It's that motivation that I need. So if my livelihood depended on it, maybe I'd be more into the DIY stuff.
Sure. No, I can get into that. I understand. I've listened to a few podcasts about that actually pretty regularly, just because it's so interesting how many people get around just doing the things that they can themselves without hiring contractors and stuff. So
yeah,
that'd be a great avenue to support yourself for sure.
Yeah.
So the last question is really touching on our mission statement. So what does it mean to you to make the engineering business cool?
Yeah. So I think Big Red Dog does a lot of this, in itself, but making it not the typical engineering job. Like, we walk in, we're in like, pretty like casual clothes. Everyone like still looks really nice, but, we all come in and we have a good time. And, it's not just everyone sitting in a cubicle or in their office. It's like this open environment. Everyone's collaborating all the time. I think that's really cool. And I think that just really kind of creates like this snowball effect of like, you have this great environment. So maybe you're collaborating with more people. Maybe you're coming up with more innovative ideas. And, that can show in your work and that can show in your research and all that good stuff. So I really think the Big Red Dog culture just promotes that kind of thinking and that innovation. And I think that really brings a lot of different elements that other companies can't bring to the engineering world. And I think that's what also really drew me to Big Red Dog. And I think it's great, and I hope that they keep it up, and I hope my twinkly lights inspire some people or maybe like de-stress them. We also have a box of goldfish, not flavor blasted, regular, if you need those. So yeah.
Nice.
Stop by anytime.
Nice. I appreciate that. That's a good answer. No, thank you. Well, and truly thank you for coming on the show with us. It's nice to hear from the transportation and traffic team and get a little bit of insight to what you guys do every day. So I really appreciate it, Maddie.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie, for coming on.
And well, folks, it does it for another episode of Unleashed. As always, you can find our show notes online at bigreddog.com/podcast. And you can always find us in any storefront, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, etc. And if you could leave us a review and rating in one of those storefronts, we'd really appreciate it.
Follow us on social media. And we're also still collecting questions for the Q&A show that we have planned perhaps in a couple of weeks or months. hurry up, send us questions. We'll answer them.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. So get those questions and DM us. We'll talk to you soon. Well, that does it for this episode. Take care for now.